I have Paul Noonan from FM Products. He's the VP of Operations. Paul, welcome aboard.
So great to be here.
Good to see you.
Yeah, we're really excited to be part of this show.
Listen, I wanted to talk about some of the products today because we've been through a lot together.
Yeah, true story.
We have. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
And
and it's been a really great partnership for us.
It has. Now, there's probably a couple people that don't know FM, you know, because people just tune in because it's SHOT Show Live. They may not necessarily know who Brownells is or FM.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do?
So we work behind the scenes doing product design and engineering for about 10 years, and we had the knucklehead idea to create our own product and put our name on it. And we've been very successful through our partnership together.
Yes.
And
agree.
that led to some other opportunities. Those
It
things that I did in the
did.
past, we were able to combine our talents with Brownells' talents to do things like the BRN10 and the 180.
And that's something you don't get to do every day.
No. This was an interesting story. They had an idea to do a retro rifle, and I'm like, wow, nobody's really done anything like that. That really excited me for the historical value. And so they started talking about this, and there was no, data package available. And so
of course not.
So what they gave me was a bunch of pictures from the 50s.
Are you kidding?
No, it was all photographs. So they're like, hey, can you help us get something like this together? And then we worked together with you and Tony and Paul with the team, and we started with photographs. And we designed this gun based on photographs. We didn't have an example of it.
I thought you had more to go on than that.
No, it was all pictures.
Oh my gosh.
So he sent me a bunch of pictures from the 50s, and we designed it.
Nice and grainy.
No, that was as good as we could make it. And then when we finally did get a sample, what we found was it was pretty close. The photographs, we'd never done it that way.
Right.
So it was almost an exact copy, but a lot of those subtle details we kind of incorporated in the design to bring that retro feel back, and of course the charging handle, the rear sight.
There's no mistaking it. They're very distinctive.
Yeah, but you get all the great retro rifle, but it has the internals of the DPMS compatible stuff.
Makes it nice and easy for us to manufacture.
And this is actually pretty elegant rear sight. It's adjustable for windage and elevation. It's click adjustable, up to 800 meters. And this is actually, we found this rifle to be extremely accurate and reliable.
Fairly soft shooting.
Yeah, for an AR-10, I mean, they got a little punch, but that's kind of the fun.
No, it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Not bad. So that is quite a project.
Yeah, that was last year's SHOT Show.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was a big deal. We were very proud to be part of it.
Well,
we make a lot of the built parts in Green Bay. We support them with some of the injection molded parts as well, some of the small parts.
That's got to be a lot of fun. You got a place where people want to build cool stuff, and you got all the stuff to actually do it.
Oh yeah, and then they had, those guys are like an encyclopedia of knowledge and history. Where I will bury my face in a computer screen, they just are. It's like a fire hose of knowledge when they're throwing all the history at you.
I can imagine.
But they knew every detail down to the serrations on the pins. I mean, they knew every detail to hit. We made it as close as we could.
This really captures the look of that old gun. And to be honest, a lot of us have never seen one in the flesh.
Yeah, and I could not find one. It was funny, we were already in production, and I finally got a sample, and I was surprised how close it was.
Yeah.
They were very hard to find.
So finally, rather than having to go to a museum, you can actually have one in your gun vault.
That's true. Yeah, and I'm sure it's going to be extremely popular for you guys.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So far, they've been going very well.
Yeah, I did see the in-range video where they did the mud test.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. We had a good time there seeing that and seeing it pass the mud test.
Our friends over at InRange have been very enthusiastic supporters of this program.
Well, good.
They can't get enough of it.
Good. I'll take it.
Yeah. So anytime something like that happens, it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Now this year, we
year
didn't rest on our laurels.
No. You guys are quite the cultivators of good ideas, and we're busy, and we got to be selective of how we allocate our resources.
Exactly.
But this was a slam dunk for us, and then we came up with the AR-180. The AR-180 was a partnership between Brownells, FM, and PWS in Idaho, and I want to give them a shout out for a minute.
They're a great organization.
They are, and if you're going to do a piston upper, you would want to do it with PWS.
They're the experts.
Well, they are, and they really help me a lot. We've found that our skills fit together very well.
Right.
We work well together, and it's been a great journey with us to work with them on this. This was a very smooth product development.
Right, between you and Dean over at Primary Weapons,
yeah.
and then Paul at our place,
Yes.
there was a lot of phone calls going on back and forth.
It takes about, you know, you see this at SHOT, but really it probably started in February last year.
Easily.
Yeah,
and that's kind of lightning quick development, even if you're recreating something.
Well, yeah, and
that's
so
fast.
we were all hands on deck the last 3 months when we were starting to finish the parts and get it into test. And we were very, very pleased. I think this is going to be a game changer in terms of what, you know, it's feature rich, it's priced well, it's high quality. I mean, it's a piston upper.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what the retail is going to be on this. Do you know?
I do not know for sure, but it's going to be available, I think, late this month or early next month.
Yeah. But what really surprised me about this was how soft shooting. What really surprised me about this is how soft shooting was.
I'm willing to bet that a lot of guys watching may not be familiar with what AR-180 was.
Right, so you're going to have to go back in a time machine.
To the 70s?
Yeah, this was one of the original designs that what most people don't know is like if you think about the SCAR or the SIG MPX, everybody leans on this design.
Yes.
And you can see it if you know what to look for. But it's a brilliant design. And it's surprising now that I, spent 10 years working on AR-15s.
Right.
Finally getting to work on this, how elegant this is, and how it shoots so flat and so soft.
I think because it's a long stroke piston system, that's kind of what pushed us toward Primary Weapons.
Of course.
With Dean.
Yeah, because that's their
He knows
thing.
that inside now.
Yeah,
and
there was some. I mean, there were some challenges. I mean, this is almost a rifle-length gas system.
Yeah. And
the original one had an 18-inch barrel. This has a 16-inch barrel. So there were some challenges there that we had to overcome.
Right.
But we, together between your team and our team and PWS, it went very smooth.
Well, one of the big challenges was that the original AR-180 had a completely different lower receiver made out of sheet metal, spot welds, and whatever.
Yeah.
And this one plugs onto an AR receiver. Your AR receiver you got right at home now, this will plug onto it.
Plug right on. And then if you wanted to do, you don't have to have a buffer tube or a buffer.
Right.
If you want to put a folding adapter on there, it shoots just fine from folded stock, so it's got a huge value there. But yeah, I mean.
And that, folks, that is part of the big deal is this is meant to be shot with a stock folded.
Yes.
All the recoil system is up in here.
Mm-hmm. And it's based off the AR-180, a proven design.
And it was at one time, looked at like the possible successor to the M16 and the AR-15.
I honestly, knowing what I know now, I would have probably picked this.
Yeah, well, I did. Back in 1983, I bought a brand new AR-180.
Really?
And I took it home. And I wasn't real old, I was just out of the service, early 20s. I field stripped this thing down. I said, this top end's pretty cool. And then I looked at the bottom end and I said, this is nothing like what I want. I carefully put it back together, put it in the box. I went up and I traded it for an AR-15.
Well, whoever designed the 180, that guy was in love with sheet metal, and I am telling you, he just loves sheet metal.
There were 3 producers too, and I got the one from the bad one. I won't say who it was.
Oh, I know who it is.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But I got the worst example possible of an AR-180.
If you can find a Howa, they're really nice. They
are beautiful guns.
Yeah, they're very, very nice. Extremely hard to find.
But when I first heard about this project, my mind went back to the one I had, and I wasn't, convinced this was going to fly.
Well, sure, and we need skeptics.
Sure.
And then when we turn you around and you like it, that's great, high praise.
Oh yeah, and plus, just replicating the good part of the gun, I figured, well, call me in 2 years when you're ready to try test firing one.
Yeah.
And here we are, we've got them.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Paul and Dean, we really, I would have expected, 2 years development, but we were really pleased with how it turned out.
Do you think after developing, this one, maybe you guys had a little more insight into going back and replicating?
We had a lot of resources to lean upon. PWS allocated a lot of resources to this partnership.
They sure did.
Because we're kind of a small team. Our FM's a small team, so it just so happened that my strengths, and their strengths complemented each other well. So we really enjoyed the whole team aspect of this.
Yeah. Now, there are a few parts that'll interchange, but not many, right? On the old design.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, well, that's a good point. Like the bolt, we were married to this going to an AR lower, as you suggested. And so we were limited. We had to have at least 3 3/4 inches of travel to get reliable feeding. So we had to modify the 180 bolt.
Yep.
And basically what we modified the rear of the carrier so it would interact with the recoil bushing and the recoil guide, so we could get the full stroke. We came up with a really cool, like the 180, when you took out the recoil guide, you could take off the top of the handguard. And so we used that to come up with the new IP. This is actually patent pending. We were able to complete all the patents.
It's a slick system.
Yeah, really so if you take this, if you remove the recoil guide and pull this down, the handguard comes off and you can service the handguard. Piston system. Yeah. So that was a brilliant design.
And the thing shoots soft and it stays on target.
Oh man,
you can pull the trigger and it stays there. It just lays there.
You know, I didn't know what to expect when I shot it. I think you really got some competitive shooters are going to fall in love with this thing because it's so flat.
I think it must be a very, very balanced system.
Yeah.
The way it behaves.
And it's light. It's lighter. Yeah. It's lighter than a standard upper. It's probably half pound lighter than an AR.
I mean, if you send your AR off and have everything done to it, adjustable gas block and all that, and different buffers and different carrier, you can get that system sort of balanced to where it feels almost this good.
Oh yeah. And you know what? I'd be willing to bet there's probably a lot of companies that are going to line up to make folding adapters for this.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because it's a perfect folding hose.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And that bolt riding on those 2 long rods is so smooth.
Oh yeah, it's like glass.
Incredible.
Yeah,
it's nothing like a standard AR. Yeah, nothing like it.
Yeah, super smooth.
Just, I was not prepared to be as impressed as I was.
Well, that's high praise because you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, and I've dealt with those guns before, and this is the way it was meant to be. I think.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You know, I think you guys did it right.
And it's a perfect fit for your retro line too.
It is.
You know, so
it is.
And I think you really found a niche. I just don't see you having a lot of people doing anything like it.
We're making it possible for a lot of guys to put guns in their collection they would normally not be able to have.
Well,
museum type pieces.
Well, and the history of it is lost if it's not talked about. You know, there's so much there that the young people coming up in the firearm industry and getting exposed to this stuff, and they can learn about the history of it.
Well, if it wasn't for you guys, all we'd have is those grainy photographs from the 50s.
That's true. Yeah, that's true story. True story. Yeah. No, this is fun.
Oh, one thing. Magazines on that AR-10. Just to remind everybody, they take a standard DPMS pattern magazine, right?
Well, you got to use because on the BRN-10. The magwell's flat, so we can't use a Magpul polymer magazine because those are intended to have like the angled magwell.
Yep.
So I think you're married to a sheet metal magazine. You're married to this sheet metal magazine. I did notice that you guys came out with this, which is pretty cool.
That's nice.
Is this new?
Yes.
Because this is nice. Yeah. That's pretty original. You guys did a nice job.
Paul never sleeps.
No, I can tell you from
He's
that.
working on his box
we talk a lot on Saturdays and Sundays, I can tell you that.
Oh.
So this is new. Yeah, the other ones didn't have the waffle pattern.
Nope, they did not.
Oh wow.
They did not. So this is nice.
How many rounds is that?
That's a 20 round mag.
So you just keep getting closer and closer to the original.
Right. I think that's his intent, is to fill out his collection as well.
Yeah. Right. I'm sure it's pretty impressive based on what I've seen.
Oh,
I think he's got a 180 too.
I think he does. He bought a 180 not long ago.
Yeah. He held on to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll put this one down so I don't drop it.
So.
We sell a lot of stuff on Brownells. I'm just going to there's a couple cool things that we...
I've used a lot of your products.
Well, thank you. Well, Paul had another great idea, and we're making uppers and barrels that are exclusive to Brownells that are the perfect suppressor host.
Yes.
So with a 9mm, this tri-lug, pretty much anybody with any suppressor, you can go to Gemtech or Dead Air and say, hey, can I get a 3-lug adapter for my suppressor? And they all make them.
Sure.
And what we did a 10.5-inch upper, 9mm, based on our forward charger, and we integrated this tri-lug barrel. So we're selling the tri-lug barrel and the upper, which is the perfect suppressor host. But if you're making a PCC or a blowback,
sure,
you can pick these barrels up, and it's just a quickly snap a suppressor on there, and you're good to go.
And the 9mm is perfect for that because you can afford to feed it. And it is truly quiet
Yeah.
when you suppress it.
And
no sonic crack, no nothing.
No, and the reality is if you don't want to put a suppressor on it, you don't have to. And there's a lot of people actually making muzzle devices for the tri-lug.
Yes, there are
So
now.
you can just snap on a
Yep.
muzzle device. So this is a great option. We're really glad to be seeing this come to market.
Well, we're based in Iowa, and as you probably know, they just passed the legislation to where we can have suppressors now last year.
No, wait,
So
tell me all about
there's
that.
a big coincidence here where we're developing all these
I
products.
had no idea. No, really, what was the law before?
No suppressors. Unless
now
you were
it's legal.
unless you were a class 6, 7 manufacturer, whatever it is.
Was that? I did not realize that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's great news.
They legalized that, and they legalized dove hunting.
Well, that's good.
So we are styling.
No, that sounds amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's very popular.
Yeah. No full auto yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah. So we did a line of complete lowers. As I think you guys are selling our we'll call it an entry level lower for like I think $199.
Yes.
And then we do a premium version which is $299. It comes with a QD end plate, an ambidextrous selector. Comes with our premium nickel Teflon trigger.
9mm, by the way.
9mm. This is for Glocks. And what we're really known for is our bolt hold open, our last bolt hold open.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
When you go to the Glock magazine, everything is convenient except the bolt hold open.
And they don't work. You
No.
know, we did.
There's some pretty flimsy levers floating around.
Yeah, that bench sheet metal stuff. So our patent was awarded recently, which was great. And you can see it move straight up and down. A lot of them rotate and they'll fall off the follower. This you can't, it'll never happen. It doesn't. There's a lot of mechanical advantage to the design. Extremely robust and strong.
I was going to say that looks nice and strong.
We've never had one fail, not one time.
Wow.
And so what we're doing now is, this is more of the high-end lower. It's available for $299, which is a great value. It's currently available on your site, but we're working on a trigger now for PCCs, which is a little different than a 5.56 because when you've got all that mass and the bolt's moving so fast and it bounces off the barrel, it wants to transfer some of that inertia to the disconnector.
Yep.
And so you may see burst fire occasionally, which can be resolved with some aftermarket parts.
Oh yeah.
But we have a trigger now that is specifically for PCCs. We're going to be offering that to Brownells in the near future. Yeah, it's about 4.5 pounds.
I wouldn't mind having one of these.
Yeah, we've been hearing a lot of that. So this, we just got some of the first samples out. It's flat trigger. I think it'll be about $59. It'll be nickel Teflon as well, just like other stuff. But that'll be a nice addition to the Brownells catalog, probably in the first quarter.
That is nice.
Yeah.
I've held off building a Glock magazine conversion simply because of the hold open thing.
Yeah.
Everything I've got's on a Colt pattern. Now I got no excuse.
I know a guy. I think I know a guy.
And it's got a decent release too.
Yeah, it does. It does. We sell a lot of these. People we've been really blessed with some really good customer feedback on all our products. So it's been really a blessing. Most people don't know we've only been selling product for 18 months, and we've just grown like gangbusters.
That's amazing, and with good cause too.
Yeah,
good cause. You got any other things in the works
well,
we need to know about?
This is just like shows the potential of what you could do if you wanted to add a bunch of bells and whistles. This is some stuff that we're going to be coming out with. It's our muzzle device is available, but this stuff is pretty much readily available on the Brownells site, and we've added some doodads. But for our uppers, they do have a forward charging handle, and this is proprietary as well. And so the kids, they like that. But this
Some
is
of the old men like it too.
Yeah. Pretty compact little thing. Yes. It reminds you of the MP5, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So this is also ambidextrous. It's non-reciprocating. So this has been a very popular product for us. The upper is monolithic and it's keyed. So once you tighten down these, a lot of these little details fall through the cracks.
Sure.
So once you tighten down these screws on the handguard, it guarantees the barrel nut will never come loose. And then little things like there's a lot of little details in here that most people don't know. It doesn't matter which lower you buy. It comes with a heavy buffer. It comes with a 308 carbine recoil spring.
Okay.
But we spare no expense. We do a very long duration, deep penetration QPQ. Our bolts are 4340. Right. They're machined hard. We do a chrome plated firing pin, which has been removed, of course. Sure. We include an M67 pin. We spare no expense. Like this is all
So
stainless steel.
You machine them after the billet's been heat treated.
Yes, so we're machining
Yeah.
hard.
So no warpage, no nothing to
Nothing.
worry about.
So we prefer it. It's harder, it's more difficult,
Yeah.
but that's what we prefer.
You go through more tooling.
Yeah, well, true story. But like we're doing Glock slides at some point, we'll be providing them, but they're same thing, 4340, machining it hard. We're wire EDMing the breech face, and we're not sparing any expense. Like even the screws, we got a hold of the Colt spec for their screws, and we make these screws to the Colt spec. Never had a screw break.
There's a reason there to that. You know, have you ever had anybody on a regular AR substitute a regular cotter pin for the firing pin retaining pin?
Oh yeah.
Doesn't last long.
Not so much. No, I mean there's a reason why. I mean like even our extractors are S7. Never had one. You know, we 65,000 on the market. We've never had an extractor break, not one time. So I mean, it just we care about our stuff, and the customers. You know, our philosophy is pretty simple. We want to make stuff that people can afford, and it's feature rich and high quality. And we figured if we did that, the customers would figure it out. And sure enough, we were right. You know?
You'd have a hard time wearing out one of those bolts.
Yeah.
You really would.
Yeah, it's been a huge seller for you guys. You guys done very well with it.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I have one or two myself.
Yeah. Well,
But just one thing, that side charging fair.
Yeah.
That is not just an add-on to a standard receiver. That's a unit, right?
Yeah. So this upper is a standalone product.
Yeah.
They make several different kinds. We make one with a tri-lug adapter.
Yeah.
We've got many, 16-inch, 10-inch, 8-inch,
There's
and these
a lot
are
of
readily
ways to go.
Exactly. And so this is sold as a unit. And the forward charging handle is also ambidextrous, which is kind of nice.
It is.
So if you're a lefty or a righty.
There's a few of them out there.
Yeah, I hear a lot from the lefties that they want a lefty version. At some point we might make one, just to put them on the shelf because we want to support lefties too.
They get shortchanged a lot, so
they do.
It'd sure be nice.
They do, yeah. So
but that side charging feature is slick.
The kids, they like it.
Yeah, and you got your normal controls on it, so it's
all standard stuff. And this is our two-stage trigger. From what I understand, the two-stage is does very well.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, two-stage. We sell a lot of them. So we have the two-stage on the nickel Teflon. We're always back ordered on. The demand's really high.
Right. Triggers still sell very well if they're a good trigger.
If they're a good trigger, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're really glad to be sharing
out.
this with you.
Yeah. No, that's a nice piece right there.
Thanks, man. I'm going to put it down.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'll drop it. That's all I got for you.
What do you got in your crystal ball? I mean, you looking at you going to build spacecraft after this
let's
or something?
Talk about that. So we do have something we're working on. Where there's a lot of pent up demand for the forward charging upper in 5.56.
Sure.
So we'll currently working on getting into production on a 5.56 version forward charger.
I think you could do very well with that.
Yeah. There's plenty of people in the standard rear charger. And we understand a lot of guys have training in that, and they're familiar with that.
Yep.
But there's still a gap in the market for a forward charging upper. So we've been very blessed with ours being so well received, and we're constantly getting asked on the 5.56 stuff. So that's coming. We're going to be doing a 5.56 version.
Right.
And then we do have some other things planned for this platform with you.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that.
But I don't know, we probably shouldn't tell them too much. I got to have some secrets.
I want something shorter and a different caliber.
It has been talked about. It has been talked about. These things take time.
A bigger caliber.
A bigger caliber?
Yep.
Ooh, I like where you're going with
Just
that.
diameter-wise.
I like where you're going with that.
Yep. Same magazine, everything else.
I like where you're going with that. Yeah, that's pretty clever. Yeah. No, this is going to be a huge thing for us. I think this is, as old as this is, I think this is the future.
It is, because it never got fully developed in its day.
No.
It never reached its potential.
No, and PWS did a brilliant job on the gas system, and it all came together very nicely.
When you shoot it, you can tell everything's right. The way everything snaps into place with the
well, yeah,
and things like that.
It's just to be able to take it apart like the 180.
Yeah,
amazing.
Exactly.
Amazing.
But it feels solid all the way through.
Yeah.
When you're field stripping and everything, it feels right.
Yeah, for a handguard that's a quick detach, it's very well mounted, and it's slim, and it's I love the full length rail.
But you can tell it was put together by people who understand firearms, not just some engineers that make
Well-
airplane parts normally or
Well,
whatever.
you know, PWS, they deserve a lot of credit. They make an excellent product. They're very driven to, they spare no expense, and they care about their
I know
product.
Dean lost a lot of sleep on this project. Dean
Well,
Sylvester.
Oh, he did. Dean did a great job. I really enjoyed working with him. He was a godsend. Really enjoyed it. We had a real fun time. We really grew to like each other. I like Dean. I'm not afraid to admit it. I hope he likes me back, but we work well together.
Well, there were a lot of obstacles in the road that he was able to go around and you were able to go around.
Well, it wasn't just even designing this, it was how we were going to assemble it and manufacture it.
Right.
And so this whole thing, it was only possible because of how it was manufactured and how it was assembled.
Yeah.
So the trunnion is again, the trunnion has a barrel extension in it. It's pretty elegant. There's a bolt that bolts the trunnion to the upper receiver, and then it's pinched and clamshelled here, so the material is constantly under load to capture that barrel extension. It's very rigid, very strong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we do have a bit of steel here. The majority of it's aluminum, but there's some advantages to having aluminum and steel, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we found this has worked really well. I love the little M-Lock logo. This is, of course, M-Lock compatible. We got that
Right.
approved by Magpul, which is great.
Right.
And this is kind of cool too. This is we expected it to be a little pingy, but it was actually quite effective.
It's a nice looking brake or suppressor.
It was surprisingly effective. And we both make muzzle devices, so we were really surprised.
There's a lot of old military designs that they had on there, and you'd be surprised how much they cut down on certain rounds anyway.
Yeah. No, this actually works really well. We were both really, really surprised. This is a hoot to shoot.
Looks good on there too.
Yeah, I can't wait to get it out there.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the fit, the finish, everything, just first class.
Yeah.
And I don't get excited all that often.
Yeah, you can tell when someone cares about what they're doing.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and
It's a different
that's the best
fit.
marketing in the world.
It just feels different.
Yeah.
You know, like a Rolls Royce feels a little different from a Chevy.
This thing about PWS, I mean, they deserve a lot of credit for the products they bring to market. It's extremely, I mean, I know guys that shot PWS uppers that got 20, 30, 50,000, 10,000 rounds and never cleaned it.
Yeah, they were
So,
built to last.
They're built to last. Yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody that's ever worn one out.
Nice stuff. Matter of fact, I'm going to have Dean on here later on in the week,
That'll be good.
and we'll get his side of the story and see.
Yeah, I hope he talks me up a little bit too.
Oh, no doubt. He's watching us right now.
No,
I'm
okay.
sure.
I'm sure he is.
He is. Well, Paul, it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Oh, it's such an honor to work with you guys. I mean, I just couldn't imagine a better partner.
I like talking to you guys because I get to hear the other side of the story. I hear Paul's side from Brownells.
Poor Paul. He's
And
got
then,
the world on his shoulders.
He does, but he gets what he wants in the end, and that's what
Yeah, I
counts.
know. He delivered.
Because that's what's good for all of us.
Yeah.
That's it for this time.